Hi, my name is Mandolin Royal, and today I'm going to show you one of the little things I do when I have a bird I'm considering for keeps. So this is the guy that I just did a little review on in my prior video, and he's been pretty cute. He keeps carrying his tail really low though, and I want to see if it's because of this situation or if it'll rise up and if he'll carry it differently in a different situation. So I'm going to go ahead and turn him loose for some hanging out in the barn while I do some other chores. And I'm going to watch him and see how he moves around, see what his tail does, and see if that gives me any more insights into how he's put together. Well, he doesn't know what to think. He doesn't know if he wants to show off or be submissive. He hasn't said a word since I turned him loose. And that tail is still hanging low. I'm pretty sure his set is just naturally that low, which is a good thing. Sometimes you need that as a little breeding ingredient to bring the tail angle down on an otherwise decent female whose tail set is too high. I'm going to keep watching him, see if he gets a little more comfortable. He's been sizing up the other birds and the other pens. That guy's tail is a little too high and a little thin. The size difference isn't quite as exaggerated as it looks. The flooring is a different height. But there's also a 4-pound difference in weight. He seems to know that. He's not going over there to mess with him. He'll probably end up over there by those younger pullets. They're curious. Right now he's trying to keep a low profile and be unassuming. He hasn't said a word. One of the things on my agenda today was splitting up this group of birds. They were over in that brooder, but at 3 weeks old it was time to double their space. So what I did is I went through them based on how they felt and their expressed characteristics, namely leg color and that feel of fleshing. So up top now has 11 chicks who passed the test. Down below there's 14 who did not pass. It's a little soon to split for gender, so I didn't do that part yet. That'll be here in another week or two when I increase their space again. Then we'll figure out how many good quality boys and girls there are and how many dinner birds and how many future layers we got. So now it's time to check in with Mr. Man again. And he's now positioned himself by the youngest crew of cockerels. And I need to do the same sort of sort with them. They're right at between 6 and 8 weeks old. So I'm going to go through them and figure out who passes the field test and who's shaping up pretty good so far. And the ones who don't make the cut, they're going to be moving over to Rooster Coop, which is where this guy came from. I don't really have another place to put him, and with how he's acting, I'm starting to feel pretty confident that he can go back over there to be the cool uncle with the boys that sort out for the freezer. So that buys him time to keep growing here. And his tail got even lower. So maybe he's more submissive than he initially let on. And that's kind of interesting because he was the leader out of 7 when he was in Rooster Coop. So over there, he was Mr. Man. But when I brought him into the barn, now he's taking a much more cautious approach to how he displays himself. Interesting. I'm going to keep shoring away and watching him, seeing what he gets into. He's telling me a lot about himself today. He's a thinker. Like, not making me think so much as watching him process all of these new situations and the way he's going about it. I find this stuff fascinating, so I'll be back in a few. He's still over here with the young guys, and now it's time for me to sort through them. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave him loose and let him watch and see if he gets mad at me for getting in there and messing with him. I might get flogged as I carry him and put him into the sort cage. But maybe not. Maybe he just watches me and stays out of the way. I'll update on that here in a second. So there's been a new development. I got 4 boys in, and he got fired up about what I was doing, and the door was open, and now he's in there being the cool uncle. It's fine, buddy. I promise. So I'm gonna keep going and see how he acts from inside the pen. I'll update again with results. I kind of don't want to go in there and interrupt, but I'm gonna have to. And if I have to remove him to get the job done, it's fine. But look, he's the cool uncle, as it turns out. So he'll be able to go back to Rooster Coop and show these younger guys how to do things. First, we're going to find how many are going to go with him. So far, so good. He let me sort the entire pen, and he didn't argue with me. He did vocalize some protest, but I'm intact. Everyone's kind of where they go. He's not going to stay here because I have another group to put in here of a younger batch, but that went really well. So far, he's a good boy. In terms of what I found out of that boy group, there's 6 males who felt extra meaty. The worst flaw any of them has is paler than desired leg color, like that one there. This group did have 3 different ages in it, so I didn't weigh them because it's not going to be an accurate tell. And I just went with the feel test, because they're either meaty or they're not. These guys were also meaty, but I found more than one fault in each one, so they're going to go to Rooster Coop with their cool uncle, who is now over there crowing. There was 7 of them. And then there were 4 who didn't feel that meaty, and they had more than one fault. And the reason I split them up like this is it's given me an indication of our overall hatch results. So 6 that could grow up and be plenty serviceable breeder birds, 7 big ones for the freezer, and 4 little ones for the freezer. Over time, as they continue to grow, this number can definitely get thinned out, but it depends on the breeding goals. But the fact that that boy jumped into that pen, stayed cool about it, let me do what I needed to do. I've left the door open. He's still in here. Perhaps because it's the territory closest to those pullets. I don't know what's going through his little peanut brain, but I'm gonna keep going on chores so we can get him moved back into rooster coop with his new little flock of boys. He passed the test today, so he can keep right on growing. We'll see how he turns out. He's pretty young. He's only like 17 weeks old. Next week, I've got to get into this pen. Then I've got a pen of pellets I need to get through. But you can't do everything all in one day. So once I get everybody situated, I'm done for the day. So more on this later. Feel free to like and subscribe as I go through this whole process of how we run our dual purpose flock and how we keep breeding the good stuff forward and cycling out what's not going to do us any breeding favors.